If you like the products in this video, check out the links in the description below. In this video, we are going to be talking about silicone pastry bags. They are a vast improvement as far as reusable bags go from the old style canvas bags that were coated. They were kind of stiff and bulky and a little difficult and cumbersome to use. These are nice and lightweight, similar kind of feel to a plastic disposable pastry bag. It has a slight texture to the silicone on the outside, and it's nice and smooth on the inside. The main thing you want to consider when you're ordering these is they're great if you want to be environmentally friendly, but unlike the disposable ones, these, once you cut them, you cut them. So you want to think about first what you're going to do with them. And if you do a mix of different things, say working with buttercream, but also doing things that are meringue based like royal icing and macaroons, potentially ordering 2 sets in 2 different colors so that you don't accidentally mix them up. Any traces of grease from a buttercream will definitely ruin your macaroon batter. So things to keep in mind, especially when washing and doing cleanup. The other thing is you want to decide what size tips you want to use with them, and if you're planning on using couplers primarily. So this will determine how you cut your bag so you get the maximum use out of it. So having a couple of these on hand with a couple of different size openings can be helpful. For me, I'd probably use them most with the medium-sized decorator tips. This one's a 125. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it for that. As you can see right now, if I try to squish that forward, the tip isn't all the way exposed, right? You can see the opening, but the plastic is blocking it. So what I want to do is mark this probably about 1/3 of the way back, just because these bags have some give, and make sure that it's still going to be nice and stable, right? And I can't rocket that tip out when I'm pushing on it. Slide that tip back, and I'm just going to take my pair of nice scissors and cut that opening, right? And I'm just a little ahead of where I marked because I want to make sure that I'm not cutting too far back. And then I'm going to slide my tip in and make sure that that's nice and secure. So now I have a nice, right, area of clearance for the opening of the tip. This should work with most of my medium-sized decorator tips, right? And it's all completely exposed, but there's enough bag on this tip that it's going to hold it in place. And if I'm squeezing hard or I'm working with a firm product, it shouldn't rocket that tip out, which means you get a lot of use. Anytime you're going to load a bag, I always recommend folding it over about halfway, sliding your hand up into that fold, and it makes what I call the Muppet mouth, right? So you can use your fingers when you're loading product in with a spoon or a spatula to kind of clean that, and it gives you a nice easy load. Then when you fold up, the top half of the bag should be clear of any product, and it'll be easy to use, and it also won't be overfilled, which is hard on your hands. As far as storage and cleanup goes, I like that these lay nice and flat. They come with a little loop on the end, so you can always hang them if you want to. But once they're dry, you can store them flat in a drawer. The main thing is wash with warm soap and water. If you're doing stuff with buttercream, make sure you get them nice and grease-free. And I always fold them over halfway and make kind of little hats or sailboats with them. And then I use a drying rack, right? Either a nice dish rack or drying rack, just to keep them open and have airflow inside the bag and outside the bag, and make sure they dry completely. If they kind of fall over or lay flat when they're drying, you'll get moisture trapped in there and you can get bacteria growth, which is of course really bad when you're working with food, and will also make them really stinky and mean that you need to wash them again. So you want to make sure that they dry completely before you lay them flat for storage. If you like the products in this video, check them out in the description below.